We begin in San Francisco, where voters in the Sunset District are deciding whether their supervisor will keep his job. Voting in the recall of Joel Engardio ends tomorrow. That recall sparked an emotional debate, much of it centered around the conversion of the upper grade highway into a park called Sunset Dunes. Engardio's support for that closure sparked a fierce backlash. Lauren Tom spoke to voters as we wrap up what has been a very contentious campaign.
On the edge of San Francisco, where the Pacific Ocean meets the Sunset District, a stretch of road has been transformed into Sunset Dunes Park. It's become a way of life for nearby residents like Heidi Mosesen and her family.
What a beautiful thing that we get a space of community and active recreation and transport and a place to run into your neighbors. And our kids can bike here safely and play after school. It's just such a wonderful thing and really opens up the coast.
But behind the strides and pedal strokes, this park marks the ignition of a political firestorm. Sunset Dunes was created after the approval of Prop K, a ballot measure that passed citywide with 54% of the vote. Yet here in District 4, nearly two-thirds of voters opposed it. Supervisor Joel Engardio backed the plan anyways, a decision that helped trigger a recall election that could cost him his job.
Candidly, I did not vote for Joel the first time when he ran, but as a constituent who lives here in D4 and who has just absolutely loved having this park, it's totally transformed the feel of the neighborhood and in a positive way and changed the way my family gets around. I was so impressed by Joel in the way he took a hard position.
Critics say that decision to take the hard position came at the expense of listening to his own neighbors. More than 12,000 signatures were gathered to put this recall on the ballot.
I'm not an anti-park person. I love parks. I just think if we're going to build a park, we should consider how we're going to take care of it. And if there are impacts to doing that, let's mitigate those ahead of time and be honest about it.
Richard Correa, a retired San Francisco police captain whose family has lived on the west side for generations, says the park has brought unintended consequences to public safety.
Because 20,000 cars a day cannot be diverted into neighborhoods without an impact. And that's the biggest thing that should have been mitigated beforehand.
For many, Prop K was just the beginning. The real issue, they say, is whether West Side residents have a strong enough voice in decision-making at City Hall.
It's not Prop K. It's the lack of identifying the impacts of Prop K and mitigating them ahead of time.
For Heidi, the recall is also about more than a park. She sees it as a test of whether leaders can still take risks for the city and their neighbors' future.
I really hope whatever happens with this recall that our other leaders will continue to put the best interests of the city, keep them in mind when they're making their decisions and not be trying to constantly please everyone or avoid making someone mad so that they don't get recalled.
And Supervisor Engardio released a statement that said in part, recalls should be reserved for corruption or impropriety, not policy disagreements on a single issue. Voters just elected me 3 years ago, and they'll have their chance to weigh in again next year. If the recall is successful, Mayor Daniel Lurie would appoint a temporary replacement. Voters would then pick a new District 4 supervisor next June, the city's next scheduled election. Then again, a few months later in November.